Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Spitfire. We did take a break, but we are back. And if you missed us, you can blame Tunn, of course. My name is Brice, and I'll be hosting it this time. Joining me here to do stuff in the background mostly, because who likes listening to him, it is Tunn. But more importantly, our guest for this week, Miles the Ross. How are you, my friend?
I am very well. Brice, I'm good. It's late here in Sydney, but
It's early here.
Yeah, early for you guys. I'm in the future. Got any questions? No, I'm good. Very good. Happy to be here, and thanks for having me on the show. Not
a problem. Me and Tom both got up early to get you on because that's how much we love you.
Thank you.
I mean, our false Bricey was wondering about it. Let's be honest. But
I was all right. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't get as much sleep as I would like.
What time do you go to bed?
Let's move on. Let's talk about our topics for this week before we get off topic, as usual at the start of Spitfire. Right, first topic, it's a big one. It is the CWL Vegas pools. They were drawn last night, so it's even better that we're doing it this morning because it's all fresh in our minds. So we've not only got the Vegas pools that have happened, we also have the pool play qualifier. Miles, did you catch it? Or have you?
I did. I watched the whole thing. I got up this morning and watched it. I didn't watch it live, but yeah, I saw the entire thing. Claude Nomus is good at opening those little things, isn't he? Oh, he's good.
He struggled with one of them.
One of them was upside down. One of them he couldn't open. I mean, there's always next year. He's only new to this, isn't he? But I thought he did fantastic.
Yeah, I think he needs more ceremony. I think he needs an official uniform.
A sash.
I think there should be some sort of music.
Some sort of hat.
Yeah, and he needs to work on his hand movements a little bit more, like a hand model, I think.
I just love the way he barreled the camera the whole time with him. He was like...
But it's funny. It's funny because I slightly off topic, but I've talked with people about this before. But on American shows, they really stare down the camera because we used to do it like we used to take the piss out of Rel because he used to death stare down the camera. They love doing it in America.
Rel got caught away with it, didn't he?
Yeah,
I forgot.
Because
watched it back and was aghast.
Yeah, but Americans always do that. I think it's weird. I think it's just an American thing. Because I spoke about it, I was like, why do they all stare at the camera? Like, they all, like, stare down the lens when they're talking to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just
it's engaging with the audience, is it? But you have to, I think that there's a line.
Yeah.
It depends. Some people are better than others.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway, that's off topic about camera etiquette for talent. When we're talking about the pools, Ton. Jesus Christ, that's a segue. All right, let's go straight into it then. Let's talk about Pool A. 100 Thieves, United Team Reciprocity.
Are we all, before we get into this one, not off topic, still on topic, how hard is it to say reciprocity and how many times have you fumbled name reciprocity throughout the entire year?
That's the first time I've got it right. So
there you go. Reciprocity.
Once you get it, it's like riding a bike. It's fine.
It's like yeah,
if your bike is on fire.
Yeah. No pedals.
So before we get into this, right, there was something I put on Twitter yesterday talking about the pools and stuff because everyone's like picking their favorites and trying to figure out which is the pool of death and all that sort of stuff. I think this is probably one of the harder events to judge because not only is it 5v5, but we have a very limited sample size, right? We have champs. If we go all the way back to season 2 was quite a while ago now. We've had Rostermania. It's a different game. Like, that's so many variables that I think a lot of people are getting carried away with their predictions. They genuinely are, because a lot of it, you're just talking bollocks. You genuinely are, because if you're going, oh no, I'm super confident in this, the only thing you can pull from is the 2Ks. That's it. That's all you're pulling from. Like, if you're pulling from anything else right now, you're just making it up.
We have a degree of experience with, like, okay, so on that topic, you're right. All we're going off for 2Ks. I mean, if you're going straight off for 2Ks, I don't think 100 Thieves is going to be very good. But at the same time, the reason why, more so the reason why I don't think a team like 100 Thieves is going to be great is I think that there's a lot of personality clashes on that squad. I think that, bless them, I love them all. But I think that the years those players have had, particularly in World War II, Enable had a bit of a shaky year, obviously turned around at the end. Kenny had his ups and downs. Octane went from like the highest of highs with LG to pretty khaki with Optic. Like, it wasn't a good showing.
Yeah.
And then you got someone like Slasher, who, again, a little up and down, a little inconsistent. And I think I'm not sure if Slasher has what it takes to corral the egos on that squad, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know when things start getting heated in the chat, when they start throwing shit at each other, I'm not sure he can like wrangle them in. Like he's got to be the sheepdog. He's got to get them in order and get that boat moving again. I'm not sure if he can do that yet, and that's why I think to begin with, that's one of the reasons why I think 100 Thieves aren't going to be super strong. But Brice, you're right. We are talking absolute trash. Like we're basing mostly everything off of dog shit. So yeah,
we're basing everything off last year, right?
Yeah.
When you bring into account Team Chem and you bring into account how teams work together and metas and stuff, like it can be very hit or miss. That's the thing. Like we can predict stuff now, and we will, but we could be miles off, and it won't even be our fault because we can only go on what we know. But I think it's interesting you brought up 100 Thieves and talked about them like that, because basically everybody's top list that I've seen, or at least that I have seen recently, has had these guys as like the #1 team coming into this season.
And they could totally be.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's Kenny. I think a lot of that's down to Kenny. I think some people are so hyped over Kenny right now that
which is
him being on 100.
Well, I will say, from when I've seen them play online, Octane does look very good. I will say every single time I've watched them, specifically in their game against Optic, and the Pro Showdown. I watched all the YouTube videos on that one, and he fried. He did really well considering they got hammered. But at the same time, he looks pretty good. But it just brings it back into it. It's like you just don't know with it being online. Like the main thing that's putting me off just fully predicting Optic to win the event is they won the first 2Ks last year as well. What happened then?
And then what? They got was it lower bracket final versus Splice?
I mean, they did all right in Dallas, to be fair. I mean, it's not a terrible result at all, but after that, it just sort of
the hype train for Optic is so hard right now. Like,
it's massive.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think we haven't talked about the other teams in this group, by the way. We need to go back to E United and Team Reciprocity. E United, not a lot has been said about them. Well, at least not as much as I was expecting about E United. Usually with players like that in this team, everybody loves Clay. You expect them to be talked about more. The player people are talking about is Abeezy.
He's sick, man.
People are big hyped on Abeezy.
He's sick, yeah. I think it was Pac that said it. Pac-Man said this on the draw show, which is that Clay looks really solid, like very, very, very consistent. He's got the game down very quickly, and yeah, United look pretty sound. Like again, online and all that shit, but they do look like a very formidable squad. It looks like they're going to hit the ground running. I think one of the few teams I've got a lot of faith in to just hit the ground running and do okay.
Yeah,
but the problem I've got is like I don't know what's the ceiling for this team. How far can they go? Can they be a 2 or 3 or 4 event winning team this year? Can they go all the way? Are they going to be consistent enough to play it out through the league? I just don't know.
That's been their issue for a couple of years. That's been their issue for a couple of years.
Right? Like this guy's got some of the most hype for a player coming into an event. For ages.
I think you look at the rest of the team as well, though. Clay having a good time. We know Arstades is going to be good. Pristini, there's always question marks around it, but if he can hit the ground running again, then we see what happens. But I think Jacob into this team has worked out really nicely for them.
The weirdest pickup, man. The weirdest.
I think it's a weird one, but it's only weird because LG. Why the fuck have they dropped him? I just because then they seem to be struggling. So
we'll never know, man. Codburner's gone quiet. Where's all the intel, huh?
He doesn't need to be. He's went back into hiding. But I just think
because I'm the Codburner.
Yeah, that's probably you. But E United, for me, I think I agree with you, Bricey, that it's a solid team. I just don't see them pulling up any trees. If you like, I don't see them winning the event personally. But
see, that's my issue again, man. Like,
but how do you know exactly? It's like how do you delve into it?
Right, 2K is a competitor. They're the only competitive sample we have, and they still didn't look bad. I think they look good. And I think, again, Abeezy coming into it, how is Cat playing after the controversy of him dropped and all that sort of stuff. The other 3 for me are known quantities, right? Arstades, Clayster, and Pristini. We pretty much know what we're getting here. They do have the ceiling to win events. So it's the X factor of the other 2. I want to see how those 2 match into this team. I want to see how Cap's going to play with this squad, and I want to see how Abeezy, is going to play when it comes to the big boy time. So I think that's interesting. But let's move on because we'll do more talking about Team Reciprocity than some of the Americans did. Interesting that they have an Australian player now. there was admittedly some controversy on Twitter yesterday where Tommy and Nameless sort of had a little bit of a jibe at each other. Not really a hostile thing, but Tommy reminding him that he's been a sub for most of his career.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but Nameless said that he was a slow player, and I completely disagree with Tommy being a slow player.
Do you know what? Do you know why that is? I know exactly why he said it. Because so a lot of the teams Tommy's been in have had pacing issues, but it's not because Tommy isn't a sub player. It's because of the way Tommy plays specifically. You know, Tommy's a counter player a lot of the time, and he will counter the other team's play, which means he runs a little bit slower than people like Jerd, who he usually plays with. That's it. He's not an AR player. He's not like a slow player. The pacing issue. If you remember, the main pacing issue they ever had was Millennium, where they had super slow Swanee.
Yeah.
Adcat, who had to keep switching roles, and then you had Jerd. So like Tommy, like they couldn't figure out how to get that pacing right. So that's why he's probably said it.
Yeah, I get that. So, in that, Brice, does that explain why Splice had such success at Birmingham? Because they were all on the same page, like the pace was there.
Yeah, I think they were just more comfortable than the other teams. They adapted faster, but
has something to do with the monitors, maybe. But
hey, mate.
But even the Splice team, they couldn't seem to figure out exactly how they wanted to play the game.
I think this reciprocity team. Online, they've been a bit inconsistent, to be honest with you. Like sometimes, I mean, I know we're going to talk about Red Reserve, but from what we've seen in scrims, tournaments, they look above and beyond the best European team. I can't tell you the last time I've seen Reciprocity take more than one map off them when they've scrimmed them. When it's been shown, obviously, we don't know what's happened when it hasn't been streamed, of course, but they've looked a little bit inconsistent. But you look at that team, and it's full of players who've done the business before. I think the transition of Den's coming in that team, it sounds like the vibes are really good in that team now. I mean, he seems to have a really good time with Zed, which I think was important for him to come in. And I don't think he was ever not going to be comfortable in this team because we know Den's and he's a fairly relaxed guy. You know, he comes into that roster who's not really full of intense personalities. It's quite a good roster for him to slot into because, like, I mean, you got guys like Shawnee who get along with everybody for the most part. You got guys like Zed.
You say not intense, but Tommy is very intense.
Tommy's the one, but he's the leader of the team, so I suppose he has to be. But the rest of them are quite chill. So I think it was a good thing for him to step into. But Tommy is there to sort of guide them. I like the makeup of the team. I just want to see them hit the potential.
Alex has left. That's what put at the moment.
I didn't really understand.
Why did that happen?
I thought he wanted to leave.
I just think he thought grass is greener.
Yeah,
if that's true.
When I spoke to Wuskin, he turned around and said to Wuskin that he just doesn't think the team can win an event. But you look at the team he's on now, and would you argue they're any better? I would say no. Personally, but
I think the team. We'll get to the team he's on now because the team he's on now is so interesting. But no, I think Zed on this team is going to be a big factor. I think Zed will do well this year. I don't think he's going to be like making any top 3 SMG lists, but Zed's fast and this game is fast and he works well in chaos. I think as long as he's directed right and he gels with the rest of the team, we'll find out. Like, I think because I always thought Zed's a good player, but I always thought. Sometimes he's a little bit chaotic.
I think having Tom there will slow him down a little bit, so just put a leash on him, if you know what I mean.
Tom will tell him how to play exactly how he wants to play.
Oh yeah, so. Like if anybody gets criticised in scrims, it's always Zach. It tends to be by Tom. So I think if he can rein him in, because the rest of the boys really know what they're doing. Wuskins looks insanely good, and he has been for a couple of years now, but he does look very good. I think
he had a great finish to World War II as well. Yeah, great finish.
He's a very good player. He's a very, very good player. So I'm really interested, I said, to see how they do. Online, I said it's been a little bit inconsistent, but I don't think this is the worst group they could have been pulled into. I think realistically, they could possibly beat United. This is the thing.
That'll be the game. That'll be the game. Reciprocity versus United. That'll be the game. But I think on the base of it, you would probably just have this down in that same order.
Yeah, probably.
Like in the order they got drawn in.
If we're basing
shit's going to happen, man. Shit's going to go down. This is. I think this is the best group.
Yeah,
I think B's going to be probably a lot. I think Red are going to walk away with B unless LG and EG show up. I think shit's going to hit the fan there. C's not going to be that exciting. It's going to be a little close, a little tense. D's not going to be as exciting as we want it to be. A is going to be the cool group to watch.
I think so.
I'm calling it now.
I think so.
Let's go to B then. Let's go to B. Because I think A we're kind of on agreement that it's going to be like a little bit of a throw up between those teams. But we'll see how that plays out. All right, B. Luminosity, Red Reserve, Evil Geniuses. Obviously, different Evil Geniuses than last time, and obviously Exotic in that team has caused some controversy himself. I think it's interesting because I did kind of highlight it a little bit about Red Reserve, and I've been banging on about this since the game came out. Like, how few top 5 lists are Red Reserve on for people for no reason? Like, they're just not on top 5 lists for no reason.
They were the best team to not win. They were the best team to not win an event last year, and they're one of the only teams that stuck together. I mean,
they literally have gone Team Chem, full Team Chem.
Is anyone on that team streaming their scrims?
Wuskins and Zero. Scraps and
Scraps does, yeah.
Zero have been, yeah. I mean, it looks like they're blowing through most of the people in Europe, to be honest with you. But then at the same time, we don't know how good in general the practice in Europe has been. You would imagine it's obviously a little bit worse than in America because there's just more good teams in America. But when they've been scrimming against Reciprocity, it does seem as if, for the most part, they've been winning most of the maps. Was the infamous photo that Rated put out of the beat Heretics on Arsenal Hardpoint 250-8, and that's Heretics who have won the last 2 2Ks online, and they beat them 250-8. I think it must have been on a UK host, but I mean that's
who's hosting 8?
That's a good question, but it's still a goddamn good effort.
Yeah, that's a smashing. That's a real
250-8 definitely wasn't Heretics.
Yes. But at the same time, how much do you read off it? You just don't know where the EU competition's at the minute. They could go over to Vegas and smash everybody, or they could finish top 12. You just don't know.
I just think they've been slept on. I just think they've been slept on.
Yeah. I think they've been slept on. And in terms of where they fit in this pool, honestly, they could take top spot. Yeah. I think they expect to take top spot, especially the way LG are looking now. And I know there's a dead horse in this group, and it's definitely LG, and we're beating this one because they don't look great. Let's be frank, gentlemen.
Oh, mate, the fans are not fans of them right now.
No.
I want to see LG do well. I like that team. I was backing them big time throughout World War II. I said it in the first event. I thought that squad, once they find their form, they're going to hit win after win after win. And after Birmingham, they couldn't really bring it again, but there were moments of sheer greatness. And I worry a lot about that squad now.
But look at the names on that team, man.
Yeah, that's what they've got on their side.
Like, if you were just going to do it off like names, like classic formal gunless John Slacks, right?
I still think if
they
keep
the history of that team,
they should have.
Gunless last year was like a contender for Player of the Year.
Dude, that's like if that was your fantasy squad, you win every time, right? Like if you had if you were in like a Call of Duty fantasy league, like you're cleaning up every time with that.
You get bonus points for not picking anyone from Optic, by the way. Any fantasy squad, if you can avoid that. But you're right.
It is like they're struggling big time, and who knows? Maybe when it comes down to it, one day everyone on that squad's an absolute winner without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe they just go, "Oh, that's right. This is how you play. Oh, we've had all these issues online, but now that we're here online, this is it, and we're going to be the best." Who knows? Who really knows? But at this point, you'd be crazy to think anything but LG is struggling right now, and they are just not the team they should be.
Yeah, which means you probably put Red Reserve above them.
Yeah, totally, man, totally.
Yeah,
this is Red Reserve's group. If they're clicking as much as they should be clicking, and they've talked a lot about how much they love this team at the moment, should be their group. And I mean, the last team EG doesn't seem like that big of a competition to
you wouldn't think so.
Upset the group.
You wouldn't think so. I think, but you look at their confidence. As said, I mean, you've only got a certain sample size off it being online. It only been in Europe. Yeah. It sounds like they're going to be going out to Vegas early. As our Reciprocity as well. But I think when they get to that practice in America, I hope it goes well for them, because then if it doesn't, then it's the question mark, isn't it? So I think they want to go into scrims. It sounds like, I think Rated was already tweeting Crim6, because I think they must be going over within the next couple of days, because he was like, set up a scrim for Saturday at 3 o'clock. So, I mean, they must be going over in the next couple of days. So if they go flying into it and play against Optic, and they do well, could you imagine the confidence that's going to give them going into the event? I mean, it's just based off scrims, but they don't know where their level is compared to everybody else at the minute, because it's the same with the first event every single year. We don't know where Europe is compared to America until we actually get there. But now they're going to have a little bit of a judgment before they get into the event. I don't know. It could go one of two ways, but I'm feeling confident about Red Reserve.
Miles, you seem to be a little bit I'm going to say hesitant when I talked about EG.
Yeah, I was just thinking that EG. Again, it comes down to the practice, the quality of practice that they're getting. And now that I think more about it, like they're in the same boat as the rest of the North American squads. And from now until Vegas, I mean, even since like, admittedly, what the whole exotic thing happened a few days ago.
Yeah,
they must have been
not that long ago.
It was real close. They must have been hitting the game hard because now you're like, okay, cool, we've got our squad, let's get practicing in. That practice really counts. That North American practice. We've seen it happen when a team stays in the US for a little bit longer. When it comes to things like Pro League, like you see that level up from the European and Australian squads as well. They just get better. There's no doubt about it. Everyone's good until you get to the US and you realize, okay, I'm not as good as I thought I was. But you do level up when you get there. EG might have a bit of a leg up on Red Reserve just in terms of the quality of practice. Maybe not necessarily in terms of the chemistry or the overall player ability. I think Red might have them there. But I think that's going to be something we have to consider. EG could be a bit of a turnaround squad. I think EG are going to topple Luminosity in this group pretty comfortably. Okay. I genuinely think they're going to be coming in just a little bit more confident, a little bit more polished. And unless LG are the LG we want them to be, I think they're going to get sat on. And I don't want that to happen. I want to see LG do good. I'm a little biased. I can be biased here. But I think that's the way I'm looking at it now. I think Red still have to be very... They can't go into this thinking, yeah, boys, we've got the top group. This is a breeze. I think this is going to be a bit of a struggle for them.
I think you got to look at EG and think that they don't actually have any pressure on them against Red Reserve and Luminosity, though, do they? I mean, on paper, you would say EG going into it, if they get some wins, great. If they don't, a third or fourth in this pool wouldn't be bad for them either. So I think
the pressure for EG, right, is that it doesn't come from where they come in the pool. It comes because of the controversy of them getting in the pool.
Potentially, I think that's it, isn't it?
That's the only pressure they have.
Exotic has to have a good event, man. And I just I need Parasite's team to go into this pool. I need them to make it out. And I need them to go in there. Team. Oh, man, that would be great.
Shit hot coming in off the open. And they just fired up, man.
Listen, pipe down.
Oh, yeah. All right, who's going to be the first to say it at Vegas?
I think Mark will probably be the first to get it out.
I will say that I've already prepared something, but I might not. I might not because there's such a meme now. I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to fucking surprise you. You'll all be surprised.
I wanted to get it on a t-shirt. I wanted that stuff on a t-shirt. Genuinely, and I'm still considering it because I think it's so funny. But you could just wear it as casual wear, and people would read your t-shirt and not know what it is until you get to an event.
You're doing that so full streetwear style, so it's like on the sleeves and shit and everything. Yeah. Bryce, you sell, mate. That's sell.
I often thought there was a missed trick when the old meme came out about check my bank account and all that sort of stuff. Like, where was that merch?
Yeah, dude, that's a good point.
Where was all that? Like, you're sitting there playing, sit down, old man, zip it up. That was a missed opportunity for that team. I would have hundreds of leagues merch and just led into the meme.
Something I want to just touch on while we're on the discussion of Europe and reciprocity and Red is the fact that Splice did get second last year, and that was without any practice against any teams. That was coming straight out of Europe, and they were the best European team at the time. Red Reserve. No, first event we're talking about. So Dallas. Right. And Red Reserve were actually unfortunate to not go further. They were up against TK, and I think they were
mate, you just bring this up, you're going to tilt them. You're bringing this up. I know. I already know you're going to tilt.
I know.
Red Reserve.
But they had them beat, basically. I think they were up in the hard point, significantly, and that's when the whole bomb thing went off, and that guy's in prison forever now. And that, and then... So that happened. They come back. They lose the hard point. They go up 5-1 in the S&D. They get 1v3, and then they lose at 6-5 against TK. And that was to knock them out. No, was it? No, it was something to do with. It might have been in groups, I think. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where if they win that game, they go on to do significantly better, and you don't think TK necessarily have the run that they did indeed have. So things like that, where they actually performed really well at the first event, and we didn't really know what was going to happen. So the level is there in general, isn't it? So you would like to think that they should do what we expect them to.
Yeah, they should. All right, let's move on then, because we've still got two more pools. Pool C, FaZe, Envy, Mad Cat.
I think Mad Cat's team have done all right here. I think it's not the worst pool to
let's
get pulled
start with
in.
them, because I have to start with them because it's such a interesting team in terms of composition, like people don't get this. I don't get this team yet.
I have no
idea. People can't decide if this team's going to be great or terrible, and nobody knows.
Well, what I've seen from when I've watched them is that Dave looks a little bit more like the Dave that we're used to seeing. I think he looks a very, very strong Slayer on this game. My only query was around PT a little bit, but he seems to be playing all right as well. I think
he's going to be great at this game. He's the infamous EU speed SMG.
Yeah. So I think it suits him. But does it just gel together? That's a thing. Does this...
People don't like this team because they don't like Mad Cat and Josh at the moment. And they know Dave had a bad year as well.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Like, Mad Cat's stock has dropped further than it ever has in the history of his career. And Josh's is even lower.
Yep.
Like, people hate Josh right now as a player. Like, they don't hate him as a person, but, like, they just don't think he has it at the moment to play. And he has to bring it back in. Splicer had such a bad year, and that dropping Tommy was so controversial that people just have dropped their stock through the absolute floor. Dave had a terrible year with Epsilon. PD wasn't in the league last year, and people were wondering why the hell Alex left. Like, this team is just...
It's just question mark after question mark after question. But with good reason. I don't know, man. I just don't know where to put them up against FaZe, who should be pretty good. I'm not sure if Methods was the pickup, to be honest. I don't know. He was, obviously MVP performance last year, did win with Rise. I don't know what he's going to look like on that squad, but obviously he's a sick player. But I don't know. I just feel like there could have been a different pickup for them. Who were they looking for originally? Originally, I heard this recently. Someone was saying that
Hook, wasn't it?
That was it. It was Hugh. Trying to get Hugh, but hey man, Hugh's loyal.
Seems to be like just continuously second pick at the moment.
Yeah, which sucks because once he finds that squad again, once he finds that, or he's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, Memphis, he's a god." And he will be, but he's got to find that right squad. Maybe FaZe is that one. I'm not sure about this. Envy, though, this is a weird one, man. I just can't see Hugh being on a team with Aches. Because, like, Hugh struggled with Slasher. He struggled with, like, taking, criticism and things like that from Slasher. And I think Aches is another guy that can really hand out tough love. And I'm not sure if you're going to... I think you have to put Hugh on a platter. You have to pedestal him. And raise him up in a big way, and I don't know if Ace is doing that. I think Ace is giving him that tough love. He's more of a stick than a carrot kind of guy, and that gets results for some people. But hey, man, we'll see how we go because that team could be sick. Again, you've got a world championship winning squad, and then someone who is still heralded around as the phenom, which he is. But Envy could be amazing.
I'm still not over the fact that they won champs. I can't.
Nobody.
I was there and I seen it happen, and I still can't.
We were joking about it. We were like, they're going to win it now. They're going to win.
Yeah, we were.
It's like, they're never going to beat FaZe. They're never going to beat United right now. They're so sick. LG's going to crush him. It's like, hold my beer.
Hey man, they come out of nowhere. They are the world champions right now. That's what you got to remember. Put some respect on Team Envy's name. Still world champions. And they've just added Hugh, which has definitely not made them worse.
Like, no way.
It'll be interesting because I still think people put them down a little bit because of how unexpected Champs was. So I don't know. I think
if you go back and watch those games, like they did shit on a lot of good teams, and I mean shit on, like comfortably shit on. It wasn't like the other teams were playing bad. Like EG ran a train, for lack of a better word. I'm trying not to swear and all that because
that's all right, mate. You go ahead and swear your head off.
They were fucking running it. It was great. It was exciting to watch. But I think you're right. I think they're going to be, Brice, you're totally right. That's still a world championship team with an amazing player. They're going to be good. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be pretty good. And if they're not, I mean, fuck it. They got a whole year to bounce back and win champs at the end of all of it. That's what they do.
Paul also has this issue is that if you ignore champs, you would put FaZe probably above Envious.
Yes.
But you can't ignore champs. And Mad Cat's team has this massive question mark next to it that nobody could figure. Honestly, you could put all the teams in one bracket and you still wouldn't be able to figure out where to put them.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd probably be in the lower half, but you still couldn't figure out exactly where to put them right now. They have the potential to either beat everyone in this team or this team will be an absolute failure.
I think it'll be difficult for them to finish top of this group. I don't
see, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it is. I don't think it is impossible.
It's not impossible, but I think it's difficult. I think there's more chance of finishing second.
they're not finishing top, dude. They're not. FaZe Clan are not going to let that happen. Envy shouldn't let that happen. I think Mad Cat's team, God bless them, I think they got the hardest group they could have possibly asked for. I think they were looking at Red Spot and they were like, come on, baby, give it in. But like they got, they'd have been happy with that. I just don't know, man. I think FaZe are going to be too good. Too good.
I think I'm just going to, for me, I just have to bank on Mad Cat. Like, I think if he can fight his way back, that's the player I'm looking at on this team. Like the veteran, what he was known as the most talented player in Europe for so long. He's got to have some fire, and I still rate him. I cannot not rate Mad Cat. I think the only issue I've ever had with Mad Cat is that he's so good. He causes issues for teams in the fact that they don't know where to put him. I've always thought he should be a main AR, but he never goes their main AR because there's somebody else who can't do what he can do as well as he can do it. So he ends up going into a position that doesn't favor him as much. I've always thought, if you look at all the teams he's been in, like the Splice, the Millenniums, like he always ends up changing positions during the year. Like he's their extra sub because they need more pressure, or he's dropped back to their main AR. Like he never seems to find a consistent position. Yeah, if he finds a consistent position with the right team around him, he'll be laughing.
He seems to be a victim of his own versatility, doesn't he? That's the thing. Yeah. He can slot into so many roles, and he's a very good player in all these roles. But I think they need to look at this team and hand him the reins and sort of say, right, where do you want to go? And then they work off him. Which I think the thing is, they've got a team that's adaptable as well. Dave can do both. Josh, typically we've seen him do a few different roles as well. We know that PT is an aggressive SMG. You want to keep him there, and you want to keep Alex as an aggressive SMG at the moment as well. But realistically, I think you give Mad Cat a stick and ICR in his hands, and he's going to be a good player.
It's what Mad Cat wants to do in it. Like he'll figure out where he wants to go. It wouldn't surprise me to see Josh be the slow player again. He did really well when he was in the old Splice team. Could be where he goes. Don't know. I have no idea.
Bryce will say you've always been a fiercely loyal Mad Cat fan since the moment I met you, and I love that. I love that you've stuck to those guns no matter what, and not only that, but also your appreciation of Mad Cat has evolved with the years I've known you, which is amazing, dude. I love that.
He's a good player. Has been criminally undervalued. It's just because he's not in America. In America, it'll be a whole different story. I'm telling you.
I think
it really would.
Get 4 American players, build a squad around him, and then watch. Just profit.
He did it when he went over for Ghost. Like he was a great player in the Ghost team. I can't remember the team he was in, but I remember him doing absolute work. No. When he was in the American squad, he was in an American squad. He picked up for an event and he absolutely smashed it, but the team didn't do great. Well, let's nail down this group then. Pool C. I would possibly actually leave him in that order. FaZe, Envy, Mad Cat.
Yeah.
The only reason I wouldn't put Mad Cat higher is because it's an unknown quantity. Too many question marks over that team right now. FaZe, I just think, are a great team. And even though Envy are the world champs, I don't know. Maybe it's just me thinking of last year, but I still... The world champs just almost seems like an anomaly rather than the mainstream.
Yeah. I mean, they were a map away from going out. Then they knock Optic out. Miles casting that one again. Who's surprised?
I did have every single exit, except for one last year. Every single Optic exit.
Which one didn't you have?
I think it was Seattle. It was when Unilad beat them. I didn't have that.
Yeah, I remember.
That was it.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
we had them in Birmingham, and
dude, I was running out of wall breakdown metaphors. I was running out. I was scraping the barrel towards the end, and I was starting to get tweeted by Optic fans that were like, "Oh no, Miles is casting. We're screwed." I was like that.
Yep. Yeah, you are. Just make sure you're casting their first game and watch them get beat. That would be hilarious, right? I mean, but imagine it happens. They come in and lose their first game to Splice. Right, we're
going into Pool D. We're going into Pool D.
I think Envy are going to top this. I think Envy are going to top this.
Okay. You think Envy can take it? Yeah, I think
they'll do it. I think they'll do it.
FaZe Envy's going to be a great game. Yeah. That'll be the game. Okay. That's the game of the group. In fact, that may be the game of the groups.
It's a tight one.
Yeah. Now. That may be the biggest game in the groups.
The bias inside me is going to tell me that Rec versus the Unite is going to be a smasher, but dude, Envy and FaZe is going to be a good one.
Yeah, that may be the biggest game in the groups, actually, FaZe Envy. Now I'm looking at it. FaZe Unite will be good. I mean, LG versus Red might be all that's up there.
Let's talk about D, man. Because
all right, let's move on to D because
Splice looked good, man. Splice looked good.
wants Optic to lose and go out in groups again.
Right? No, I don't want them to. I just want to see what happens if they've looked so dominant online, and everyone's like, "They're back. This is it. They're going to dominate again." Imagine if they lose the Splice first game. Hilarious. But at the same time, we don't know. They look the best at the moment, don't they? They do. But as said, last year they looked really good, and then they had a decent first event. I think, would third be a failure for them in this event?
Yes.
You think so? Do you think they have to win?
I think it would, man. They have to win. They have to win.
The competition's so good, dude.
But this is bad for Optic. This much time is bad. They needed the event 3 weeks ago. We know when they were smashing everyone. They had a grasp. They've got a grasp of the game faster than everyone else. Scumpy's like a freaking god right now. But I think Fiber Optic is where they're going to. If they don't bring it.
Oh damn! That is a hell of a nickname if you give this team.
I am. I'm saving that one if I get them first match. It's happening. It's coming out.
Speaking of Splice, I think from what I've seen of them and their results, they look pretty good. I actually like that team. I think a lot of people looked at it, and I was one of them, and I was very unenthused, if you like, when I see Temp.
It's not the team that Splice originally wanted, is it?
No, it's not. But Temp and Aqua into that squad, I was a bit like, but it seems to be working. It seems to be working so far.
Looney's a beast.
Yeah, he's so
Looney will turn any squad into a winning. Like I genuinely believe between. When I look at that lineup, I'm like, this is a mistake. Someone made a typo here. Who the fuck is this lineup? But dude, they're making it work. I think Splice are going to be totally fine. Like a completely adequate team capable of getting top 3.
People are going to
maybe even win it. Who knows? We're all going to sleep on them. They're going to look great. I think they're going to be fine on the day.
I'm never going to sleep on Splice because you said I'm a fan of Madcap, but I'm a bigger fan of Jerd.
That's another one. Jerd always delivers, man. And even if Jerd doesn't deliver, it's still pretty fucking good. It's still very good.
I think this is the year where people really realize just how good Jerd is, because he always people know King Jerd's always been a thing, but because it's the European teams, now he's in an American squad. This may be the year that people wake up and go, oh, hold on a minute. And he likes the game because he's been streaming, which never happens.
He showed a face cam the other week. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Jed on cam? But the game suits him. It's super fast. He's got a team around him. That was one of my issues with it. I looked at it and I was like, do they have the pace to match him? But Tam seems to be pretty fast. Looney knows what he's doing. Accuracy for all the part of last year was hellishly slow, but they need something to balance them out a little bit. I think it works.
The only issue about this team is that this isn't what they originally wanted.
Yeah. It's not what the org wanted.
Yeah. They tried a few other options first, but I think it's a good score. Let's move on, because Optic, everyone's obviously the Optic hype is so high right now.
Just before we move on from Spice, do you think that kind of sloppy second mentality that they weren't the first pick, do you think that's really niggling at them? Do you think that's something that's going to...
because no one's really mentioned it until just now. No one's really
Shut it off!
No one's really mentioning it, and it's one of those things you just have to deal with it. If Jerd's happy, then it's all good, because Jerd. People don't really know this, but Jerd's actually one of the most picky players of who he plays with.
Yeah, I can see that. But also, if Jerd's happy, do you know? Is there a tell?
I will. Is there a tell? But it'll be at the event after. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out in the bar on Sunday night.
Sorry, so we're saying Optic Gaming. It's either going to be Optic Gaming or Gaming that shows up, right? That's where we're at. I might think of that as a t-shirt. I'm selling that. There'll be some Envy fans will buy that shit.
I think it's interesting with this team. Karma's back in now. People are loving this team. Honestly, I think a lot of people are picking him to win the event.
Yeah.
A lot of people just put him straight down. The event of the 2Ks, Optic hype is back. Yes. I don't think it's going to be another era of wins for them. I don't think he's going to have another solid year in terms of winning everything. But I think they've certainly put together one hell of a team, and it seems to be working, and they seem to be very hungry, which is always interesting, because their team has been accused in the past of not being very hungry, because they kind of got a little bit, rest on their laurels. Now it does seem to, the new blood has maybe pumped them up a little bit. I think Champs was a big bowl of ice water just thrown in the face.
Ice water, indeed.
I think one of my things with this team, one of the question marks, because everyone's hyping them up, everyone's saying, right, okay, they could do so well, they could go on to win event after event, but the thing is, Dashi has looked very good online. He has. He's looking insane. But has he ever been in that situation where you're in a winner's bracket final? Has he ever been in that situation where you're in a loser's bracket final? You could be going home. You've got to play against the top competition at LAN with that pressure, with the Optic fans' pressure. He has never been in that situation.
Yeah, but I think it's less of a factor because look at who he's sitting next to.
Yes.
Like, if you're looking for some players with that veterancy and that experience of being in front of the camera, like, he's going to look around, like, heart beating and stuff, and he's going to see Crimson Karma and Scum next to him, just ice cold. Just like,
Scum's
super focused.
Scum's going to look at me and be like, let's go, Bruce! And then it's on.
Pressure! But he's very good, but just can he handle the pressure? That's my question mark.
I think it'll be fine. Like, once you realise, like, I don't think you could sit in a team with Crim and really worry about it. So you just look over and like, holy shit, I'm playing with Crim.
Crim looks nasty.
The other side's Karma. Like,
there's something about that lineup though, man. Like, again, the core three are obviously shit hot, and Karma looks so good on this game. Like,
Crim,
watching
they all look good.
They all look really good, but just the way Karma, I just love watching Karma, like, between the grapple plays and just the little things he's doing that are like, oh, that's that sweet Karma shit right there. Like, it's not just like he's got good positioning, he's got this. It's those little things that make a difference. It's just so nice to watch them play again. And then you've taken, and this is my only concern, but like TJ and Dashi are, like, from what I've heard, the sickest online players ever.
Yeah, Dashi's always been good online.
Unkillable online. And I can't say that. I mean, living in Australia, I tried. Like, I know what it's like. When it's working in your favor, you're unkillable. And from what I'm hearing, like, that's a big deal. But maybe that was part of the game plan to begin with, because if you get a happy Optic who are getting good online practice, finding success, streams, YouTube, all that shit's going well, are they going to just deliver when it comes to these tournaments? They might. So if that was the game plan all along, props to Hex or whoever the corporate evil overlord who runs the company now, because that good fucking play, brother. Like, good play. Keep build a team. Yeah. Dude, build a team that keeps everyone in a really positive state of mind. If you're having good online practice, things are all good. I love that shit, man. I think it's a good move. And for all the failures of last year, and there were painful failures, believe me, I saw almost all of them. I think this could be a sick year for Optic.
Yeah,
like,
the atmosphere of camps was bad when they went out. Like, bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, we were in the venue like, well, that just happened. Like, oh my god.
All right, let's.
Don't worry, guys. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
G2. This is not the group I think they would want to be in. G2. They must have watched that draw and not exactly been into you.
Shit. Yeah, it's tough because not only have you got Optic who looked so good, Spice looked decent as well. It's rough, isn't it? It's really rough for them. But realistically, let's see. It's still up in the air for me. You still haven't got a clue who's going to win this event. G2 could turn up and be sick. But based off what we've seen, it's difficult. Right? Yeah, it's difficult.
They got the toughest group. And it's not the group of death by any means, but it's a tough group to be in. It's just a tough group to find that top second spot because that's hotly contested.
I'd argue that you look at G2 on paper and they're possibly the third or fourth weakest team to come out of their pot, and the fact that they got placed into that, it's super difficult for them. But again, we'll see how they do. Teams coming in from Open and from the play-in as well. That's where the competition's going to lie. I feel Splice and Optic are going to battle against each other and then see what happens there.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I would probably put Optic top just off the 2K.
Yeah. Based off what we've seen, we have to put them top. But it's the question is what we've seen, what we're going to see in Vegas. That's the thing.
I'd say enough. Yes.
Yeah, it's safe to say you'd be crazy not to. You would genuinely be crazy not to.
I think will be good.
The loss of last year really drives, man. That no one is harder on you than you. So I think that squad has got more to prove to themselves than any of their fans, any of us, and that's the greatest driving force a human being could ever ask for.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think so. Right, let's move on. Quickly recap the pool play qualifier. Impact 3G, Tainted Minds Gone Gaming, Imperial, UYU, Mind Freak, and Team Space Lee.
Let me bring this bracket up because I need to look at it.
Can somebody link it to me?
Yes, I will link it to you both now.
Link it in the Discord.
We'll edit this out, yeah? This will all just get cut in the edit.
This is exactly how smooth we always are. Mind Freak have got the worst drawing there because Spacey look like guards right now.
Sick, they look so sick.
Like,
I was talking to some Australians about this, and they were like, MF are looking pretty good at this game, but fuck, mate, Team Space, Jesus. I was like, yeah, I know, right? It's a tough draw. But look, they can do it. Obviously, the new MF lineup, you lose Dens, but you do gain. You get Excite back. Excite's a really good. He's good at this game. Like, he's very, very, very aggressive.
How good is Luca?
Luca's batshit crazy, man. I've never actually seen Luca play outside of the game. I mean, obviously, I joined COD halfway through Black Ops 3. His first tournament win was at like 14 years old against the Mind Freak squad we saw throughout World War II and Infinite Warfare. And yeah, he's the one guy that they have always been like, as soon as we drop Buzzo. It's not like that. But at any given time, as soon as he became 18, that he was the guy they wanted. So Luca's pretty sick. Like, again, young dude. The only thing that's going to hold him back is the fact that he's not had that much experience. You know, when you're young, you make mistakes. You just do. Mm-hmm. But they should be fine. They should be fine. But Team Space, they're looking sick.
Team Space are in the pools. Like, I'm not even going to.
I think so, dude.
They're in the pools. Mind Freak, we're going through the losers bracket. We'll see how well you get on.
It's going to be hard.
Other than that, like, Imperial are an interesting team.
Yes.
Moose, like Vodex, Hogget, like, it's a team that was like Epsilon, and they picked up Moose, and I can't remember who their fifth is right now. Did they pick up Denz? They kept changing it. They kept changing it, didn't they?
No, sorry. So we're talking about Reedy's team, so it's Reedy, Moose, Vortex, Hawkeye, and Denz.
Yeah, they picked up Denz. I thought they picked up Denz. Denz I couldn't remember. And admittedly, after Epsilon's last year, not the highest stock in these players. However, someone pointed this out to me. They still made the league. They still took wins off teams, and
I mean, let's be honest.
For players, it kind of shrinks it now. They have a chance to get into pool play.
It can't be as bad.
Admittedly, they'll have to do it for the losers bracket.
I don't
think anyone's beating Team Space on that run. Or they
who is UYU, by the way?
No idea.
I haven't got a clue. Genuinely, I haven't got a clue.
I have no idea.
That's quite bad, really, isn't it? I don't know who it is.
Well, in fairness, first time I heard some of these teams anyway. We'll find out. But I think my biggest picks to make it, Space Lee's team. It's got to be Space Lee's team.
They're great, man.
Yeah.
They're just great.
Oh, okay, so UIU is Spoof, Skies, Proto, Mayhem, and Nova.
Right, well, that didn't actually help me.
The team that is typically like guys that have been in and around the NA scene, done all right in open. I think they might have gotten into pools at odd occasion.
Am I right in saying there, Miles, that Tainted Minds are the better Australian team now? Did I hear that?
No.
What I've been hearing recently is that Tainted are practicing a lot, and I could be talking clear out my ass here, but they're practicing a lot, but there doesn't seem to be much, unless they're sandbagging against the locals, which does happen down here. There's a lot of mind games going on down under, I'll tell you that. They could be sandbagging against the locals, which I don't think is a good idea. But apparently they're playing a lot, but they're not as good as they should be. Like, it's a very good squad, solid. Everyone's good. Everyone's got the ability to pop. Chemistry's fine, but they should be better for how much they're playing. And I'm not sure if I'm just making that up. That does ring a bell to from my most recent conversations with players.
They won the first 2K, didn't they? I think they won the first, and Mind Freak smashed them in the second.
Yeah, the first one was just off the back of Naked's wedding. So apparently 3 of the players were pretty hungover.
Okay.
It's going to do it. It's going to do it.
Back up for the Mind Freak team. They're the best team in Australia.
Yeah. But I watched the finals. I think it was an early morning one again, and they hammered them. So from Shock's point of view. So interesting.
Let's move on. Let's move on, because there's a lot of unknown quantities in there, so there's not a lot of point us kind of staying on that. And we have still got stuff to cover. Let's kind of briefly talk about GAs again. Such a massive topic this week. People arguing for and against so many GAs. I'm not a big fan of GAs. Like, they should be temporary. I think they should be a lot less than they bloody well are. And I think because here's the thing that come out, right? Scump said this is how they get decided. He explained there's a chat, and with the captains in, they vote on it. He didn't go into any more detail, but if it's less than if a GA goes through and it's less than 75%, I think that's criminal. Like, you have to give it like an overwhelming majority, and it's also GAs are in fact bollocks.
Bollocks.
A lot of the time, the shit isn't play tested properly. A lot of the time, people just get very upset with things, and I understand people not wanting stuff in the game that frustrates them. But sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of a crutch at the moment. Like, people are reacting too fast. And it's annoying me.
I think the thing is
Can you imagine?
Like, changes have happened. I made a video about this, but I haven't posted it yet. I'm finding out if I can talk about it as much. But
Tunny.
I know. I'm trying to be good. But at the same time, there's things like Talk and Ajax, that have been nerfed. Ajax have been nerfed.
Francis
have nerfed into the ground. They've changed the CWL rules for Talk. He doesn't do damage.
Castrated him. He's been stripped of his manhood.
Still GA. You're telling me you'd rather use it than Battery, than Seraph, than any of the others. You're telling me you'd rather run Talk than any of them. Is his barriers as effective as a fucking grenade launcher? No, it bloody isn't. So just take it out. If nobody's going to use it, fair enough. Because it's not that great. But why is it in the GA list? If it's not that good.
I think you have a point. I think you have a point there. I think players dislike it because it's just the closing down of a lane thing. Players, if you say that to any player, instantly they don't want it. They don't want it. That's it. They just cut. It's because it's map control. They cannot stand it. And that's why. That's why Zero reacted to you like that the other day. By the way, it's because it's lane closure. Like they just they will not deal with lane closure. Whether or not they're right on that point, I'm not a pro. So
yeah, I'm not a pro either. But go on.
But you like games, right? You like games, whether they're competitive or not. Imagine if you took the bishop out of chess. Imagine if you took Winston out of that very popular other first-person shooting game run by. Imagine if you eliminated that from the game's lifespan early, like the way we have. You changed that fundamentally, and this was built from the ground up. Everyone has a bit of interplay. Lane closure, Brice, you're right. It sucks for these players. So you unload a clip in it. You have to spend.
I think it's two. I think that's the issue.
Well, you get your mates along. There's 5 people on the team now. There's 5 people on the team. You get a mate. You say, sort out this. Come here.
It's not even that much.
Let's take care of the raise wire. Do you know what on the other team's running Talk, and that's a part of the game.
Do you know what the issue is?
No.
It's actually like it's a problem with the meta. Well, it's not even a problem with the meta. It's a symptom of the meta. Because of the way specialists work and equipment works, I think it would be in other games, it would be considerably more fine because you would nade the hell out of it very, very quickly. But a lot of the time now, you don't have your nades to hand. You don't spawn with them every life. So it does bring it. And like I said, I can play devil's advocate here. I can see it both ways. Right? I understand. I understand why. And I understand why they're doing it. I think possibly it could be revisited. I just think that if we're being honest, and I am going to be honest, the pros are always going to be way too stubborn for it, because even if you want some pros who would be okay with it, there'll be other pros who act like you're pulling out their toenails. Yeah. So it's never, and they're the loud majority, and unfortunately, like that's not gonna go away.
I think there was a couple of them when I tweeted about it yesterday. There was, I think it was Petey who tweeted in. It's not that bad. It's like
it's not that bad. But it's like if you're running Talk and you put down Razor Wire, well then the other team now knows. Well, you've got one less stun trophy or specialist speed to worry about. It's like cool. They're probably still running a battery, but we don't have to worry about someone's trophy.
You're not running a trophy.
Razor Wire takes basically half a clip of a Maddox now.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
It also acts as cover though.
Yeah. It does.
But the cover's not even that bad. You get that every 2 minutes, right? Is that 2 minutes? I saw that recent.
It's the shortest.
Anyway, it slows you down. It doesn't burn you anymore.
I think the Razor Wire is fine. I think it's the barrier. I don't think anyone's really moaning about the Razor Wire. It's definitely the barrier.
Because you can also run through Razor Wire if you have Tac Mask on.
That's cool. I like that.
It's not.
You're running Tac Mask anyway because you're getting 9. Whoops. You're getting 9 banged anyway.
Where's Miles gone? It's just now. There we go.
Anyway, I just to reiterate, I don't think GAs are a thing. No.
All right. Well, I just want to touch on it quickly because it has been a big topic this week, and obviously, like, there's nothing we can do about it. It's not even an official thing.
I think we need to talk about Ruin, though, don't we? In S&D, they're on about taking away the grapple hook.
Fuck off.
It's timings.
But then everybody has it. You get it every round because it refreshes every 15 seconds. So you incorporate that into your timings.
I've heard all players of all walks of life and all different tiers talking about, they've already used their Tempest. Everyone is maintaining specialist usage as they did in Black Ops 3. Like, everyone is fully aware of what's in the game and what's in play, and they're counting damage, and they're going, well, if I'm 50% of the way towards my war machine and I've got X amount of points, so-and-so is going to be a little further ahead.
Exactly.
Everyone knows, man. And then it's just like, well, now we have to listen out for the grapple, which has got a really obvious audio cue, and then there's popular places where it can go down. And if you know, old mate's got the grab slam, not spike, Momo. It's a grab slam, Philip. Slam.
And spike as well.
It's 2018, boy. You just know, as a part of the game now, you have to learn. Fucking getting rid of the grapple hook? No.
I think but they don't like it because it changes S&D, and I think that's fine. I don't mind it. I think it's great.
It's great. It's great.
It's just, there's so much more. We could talk about this for a whole episode.
Yeah. Let's move on. Because GAs is obviously a topic that's like not only controversial, but about 8 episodes long. So the last topic for today is health in gaming and esports. And full disclosure, I am sponsored by a company called Soylent. You probably saw my post the other day about it. I actually have some somewhere. Here we go.
Here we go.
And it's interesting, right? Because they approached me and they were like, "Hey, look, we can send you some of this stuff. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. We won't go any further or whatever. But we think it could have a place in esports." And I was like, "Really? All right." And I was thinking about it, right? And it's interesting to me for one reason is that I know that a lot of players are like super unhealthy with their eating habits. So I used it, and I think like the use for it is like late at night if you're playing games, like you don't want to go out and cook a full 35-minute meal or 20-minute meal when you're in scrims and practicing. You can just take one, and I was using it for that, right? Because I generally stay up later than most people, and I don't want to cook like at midnight. So I was taking them, and to be fair, worked out well, worked into my diet plan well. But it's an interesting point because it also would work good for events, because players are notoriously not great at being able to get event food when they want it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a boost of stuff here, but it does bring up the topic of healthiness among players. Now, some players are on the health grind and some really aren't. And you see them like scoffing like a Domino's or a Nando's like at like 9 p.m. at night where they're still trying to practice, and it's just not the right way. You have to get used to kind of managing energy levels.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot worse things that could happen than Nando's. I'll point that out. I think there's a lot of players who go for that, but like if you're going to talk about all that, it's because it's ease of convenience for them to do that. But absolutely, I think. We talk about it all the time how I was one of these people who was saying, why didn't you go to the gym? You got so much time. And it's like these players do have time. They work from home as well. They aren't scrimming every hour of the day.
Mm-hmm. But they should.
But they should. But at the same time, I get where you come from. I think that they have the spare time. They have the lifestyle where they can make sure that they are trying to be healthy because it's important. You got to look after yourself.
It is discipline, and I think a lot of the time it's because like they're just becoming independent for the first time. And when you're practicing and your practice schedule for a lot of these players is like 6 p.m. to like midnight, you may have eaten normally during the rest of the day, and then admittedly you don't want to stop for a meal. Like you don't want to stop and cook. Maybe you can't cook, so you reach for like like a bag of crisps, or you reach for the pizza, especially if you're the Scraps and Waskins. Mate, I swear they eat out more than I've seen any other player.
I think Scrap said he'd had Nando's 5 days in a row.
Which I did that once.
But to be fair, like
my mate, sorry, we did do that at university. We had a lot. My friend, a former Halo player, he on eBay bought the stamp for like £30, and we would just go around to all the Nando's and chicken, yeah. We didn't pay a whole lot for chicken back in the day. Thieves, criminals, shame, but it was good.
Yeah,
it was
but
good.
there's
I agree,
Bryce,
I agree.
Yeah,
it's way worse. Bryce, I agree with what you're saying. When I am sitting playing or when I'm streaming twitch.tv/MilesRoss, most times I just sit and I have got a packet of admittedly like some kind of healthy branded chip or a crisp of some variant, depending on which part of the world you come from. And I'm probably drinking a kombucha because it's good for your gut, keep them antibodies up and all that. Makes me very gassy though. But you're right, we don't want to move. We don't want to move or do anything except for play Black Ops 4 because it's the fucking best.
And there's double XP on now, so let's get this over and done with, boys. Let's sit here and eat shitty food and play COD.
But that's admittedly like why I was like okay with it, like because I used it. They sent me a crate and I actually used it. I was like, this makes so much more sense because I can actually just sit here and just drink it. And don't get me wrong, I know this is shilling or whatever, but this is like a genuine experience I had with it.
Yeah.
Instead of doing what I could do, because I like cooking. Like I think if anyone's ever followed my Instagram, I like cooking.
Big meat.
Yeah. But if you're talking to people, like on thing, you don't want to leave for half an hour because you'll lose your spot in the game. So you can just take a break. And I think Twitch streamers as well. Like it's another thing for them. Like you don't want to always eat on camera, but you don't want to go offline for it. And if you go onto a break, you'll lose viewers. So like it's the convenience thing. And I think Solon does fill a hole with that, but again, it's actually more about the whole concept of weight management. We all know like player gut, where they've been playing so much they've eaten absolute crap for about 3 months, and they come to the next event and they put weight on. Like it happens to all of us.
You're good at COD. Come on, you're good at COD. Like you're real good. Bryce, what's that stuff doing to your poo? Out of curiosity.
It's good. It's all right. In fairness, though, I'm on a decent amount of something at the moment. I can't tell if it's just that or everything else, but it's all right because I'm on psyllium husk to regulate it because I've been trying to go more high protein at the moment. And I'm also I take shakes
Joe
anyway.
Rogan. All right, Joe. All right. Pipe down, Joe Rogan. Okay.
You know what? You're a coward.
That's this is it. This is gonna be it all year, man. Like nothing's getting funnier than that.
Pipe down, Miles.
Look, we're not friends. But we are friends. I wish you nothing but success in your career.
I think it's a genuine concern for me for players. Because here's the thing, right? If we go back like 4 years, I was at an EGL and I mentioned that I thought a team were going to lose because I just saw them scoffing down a Mackey's before they played. And they did lose. But I got absolutely lambasted for it by the fans going, "Oh, that means nothing." I was like, no, it does. Trust me. Like energy levels is so important. Because if you think of the level they're playing at, and they love a bit of caffeine, and they love, the bananas and all that sort of stuff. They're trying to get the water, and you see them eat, like reasonably healthy towards playtime. But that's such a distraction from what a lot of these players' actual lives are like, because they're just eating crap. And if you're on a 16-hour day where you're playing and you've got to play at the absolute peak at that level of competition, your energy levels have to be consistent. You have to be able to manage it.
I bet if you
that means exercise. That means diet.
I bet if you went back
on this topic,
go on, Miles. You go.
Buzzo at first event I met Buzzo from Mindfreak was at COD XP, and I bumped into him in the lobby, and he's unmistakable. He's a super strong, fit guy, and I was like, "Hey, Mitch, how's it going?" He was like, "Oh, good, dude." I was like, "What are you doing in the lobby?" He's like, "I'm waiting for my food." Excuse me, gentlemen. Power cut here in Australia. We only get power for 9 hours of the day. Gaps. Elon Musk is working on it. I know. He said that he's ordering food and he basically gets his healthy food shipped in, and he's like, I'm trying to maintain a level of good eating and whatnot. And Mitch genuinely did do that. It cost him a little bit more, obviously, because he's getting these supremely healthy, decent meals put literally flown in from a different state. And all he has to do is microwave them. And I was like, when I saw what it was like, it's some chicken and some steamed vegetables. I was like, that sounds great. And he was like, yeah, take this to the event and eat it. And I was like, you clever boy. And he's like, well, it cost me 50 Australian, which is $30 US for 2 meals. I was like, well, you're getting there. Yeah. It's adding up. But he looks good.
Yeah. But again, we've seen some players on the health grind, and they look great for it. And I'm sure they feel much better, hanging around a bit. Because you don't want a player that's their immune system is prone to failing. You don't want to play ill. You don't get ill so often. It's actually criminal.
It's ill from
they
work.
Just break down. They just break down, and they're not like horses. You can't just shoot them. You've got to you've got to keep them going.
And all the traveling, etc., doesn't help either. Like,
of course not. Like, if you're a pro player now with the money pouring in and the big salaries and stuff, and you're not thinking about this, there's something seriously wrong. Like, I would hope some of these teams, put it on. But I know we've seen, like, I think EG, I've seen Envious have done like boot camps before where players get taken to a sports center and spoken to by dietitian and fitness trainers and stuff. I'm not saying you have to look like you walked out of a catalog, but I am saying that players need to seriously take care of themselves now. If you go to an event and you've been eating crap and not working out for 2 months and you get ill and you're not playing well at that event now, you could have cost yourself tens of thousands of pounds. Like, you could cost yourself a serious amount of money just because, like, you could be dropped, like, anything could happen. Your career could take a nosedive. Like, you don't risk that shit. You're an independent person who relies on how good you are in a day. Like, fucking sort yourselves out. Some players do, though. Some players are better at it than others.
Yeah, but, of course. But like, legitimately though, you look at, like, you think 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm not like specifically going to call anybody out, but you look at like 4 or 5 years ago, Brice, when we used to go to all these European events, and then like you meet people like a year later or something like that in the game, and you're like, holy shit.
Heavier. It's like me.
Like, no, you keep getting slimmer.
Your muscle, come on, mate.
Now I'm a little bit slimmer. Like, I'm a little bit slimmer now, but I definitely went up to over 280 pounds.
It's like when we turn up to the event in Vegas, everyone's going to be looking at me thinking, wow, Tunn, you've really been working out, haven't you? You're looking really good.
Unfortunately, you're
like, no, it's all the psyllium husk I've been eating.
Yeah. but at the same time, it's like, you notice that. Like, and one thing, I think if you looked back at sort of like EGL events where we would have them in Blackpool, and you remember the Chinese, but you remember the Chinese over the road. Everybody was in there. Imagine the level of play. I think if you watched it back now and realize, holy shit, everyone was really shit. Like, because of how much of chow mein everyone's just like literally full of special rice.
Here's the worst trait I've seen though. You'll see players like quaffing that down before a game, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm slumping. I feel tired." So they'll just down like as much caffeine as they can physically get in their body. So like, I can only imagine like what their hotel room toilets are like, because it must just be chaos. Their body's going, 8,000 calories, lots of carbs, brilliant. Oh, you're now going to give me 400 milligrams of caffeine. Oh, that's going to sit really well with all the sugars I'm pouring in.
It's like fucking Pompeii in there.
Oh, dear.
Honestly, I'm surprised there isn't the VIP now. You see players just laying down. Just like, oh, God. I've played a best of 5 and I'm dying now.
But I think there is definitely a lot to be said about taking care of themselves, Brice, whether that's their diet or whether it's, how many players do you think suffer from serious back problems? Like, I know a lot of players suffer from, like archers in their neck because we're all sitting up for hours now. So at a time, players that lean forward, your elbows digging in your quads, and eventually that causes long-term damage. And this is something that like players don't worry about, and I certainly didn't worry about as a player when I was playing my first-person shooter choice as a younger man. But when it catches up with you, all of a sudden you've got a bad back and you can't stand for more than 30 minutes without hurting yourself. Shit like that starts to impact performance in a big way. Like, I know I've heard players, because I know who they are, they're complaining about like, my neck hurts a lot. And there are some simple exercises you can do. Again, when it comes to health, Brice, you're absolutely right. Get some vegetables down. You stop eating such shitty food. I know it's difficult to do that, but if they spend 2 hours on a Sunday cooking,
meal prep would be a big thing.
Meal prep, like 8 kilos of broccoli and chicken, and then you put that shit in boxes, and that's your food for the week after scrims, before scrims, whatever you want. Go to a physiotherapist, be like, hey man, I spend my whole day sitting down. What should I do? And the guy's like, just do this shit once in the morning.
And a lot of them have got the money now. You know what I mean?
Like, exactly.
Don't spend it out on the Louis bag. Speak to a fucking physiotherapist. Or speak to a dietitian. Oh, mate.
Admittedly, right? That's
what's with the double Louis bag? The Gucci bag.
That was the Gucci's bag. Yeah, he's got 2, isn't it?
What's with the double, bro? What is that like? His scuffs in one.
He could do both. He's making enough money.
But in his other bag, it's actually a spare Gucci bag.
Yeah.
Fucking there you go.
He's actually got 3.
I just want to know, man. I just want to know. I'm a dude who loves my gear.
But that's actually why I become an advocate of Solent, right? Because when it comes to those situations, like, if you haven't meal prep, if you don't have someone like who can make you food, like I used it. I actually genuinely used it, like, just in my life. And I was like, this actually makes a lot of sense, because it's actually, the macros are good, and we won't get into macros right now because that's, people just are wondering what the hell that is, and they're thinking about gaming term. Like what you're putting into your body does genuinely matter. And I think players could do better. I'm not saying you need a personal chef and a personal trainer and
but it's good.
It'd
be great.
Wrong. They should. Most of them should have one. But especially with take the European players moving over now into team houses in the States. That atmosphere will either be fantastic or awful. Either people will start taking care of themselves in a house full of their teammates, or it will descend into people doing absolutely nothing and eating trash every single day. And I'm very curious to see which one it is. I hope Red Reserve and Reciprocity, whoever's going over with them, is yo, sort this out.
The coaches are going to be on it. I know Dom JB can cook. I know he can. I don't know about Shane though. I don't think I don't know if Shane.
Shane is not going to be a good influence. I don't care what happens.
They'll all be smoking 20 pack a day.
Shane's going to be a good influence. Shane
I've heard those comms.
There will be beers and cider in the fridge for Shane, and then he will not care about the rest of it.
But the thing is, the coaches have a responsibility. They could be doing that. They don't have to.
It's going to be difficult because it is not normal for players. They're not going to accept it.
It's not, but it's within easy reach. It's not a difficult thing to do once you start doing it. It's not.
Everyone needs to. They need to be better than they were yesterday, and if that means getting up earlier and doing some fucking yoga, that shit's good for you, man. I'm telling you now, yoga is fucking good for you.
It is.
When you get to a yoga studio and you look around, you're like, this is good for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good for you. That shit is amazing. And then,
especially with right?
Dude, exactly. Because if you get up at 12 and you're in your Vegas, I'm talking about the rec boys. What are they going to do? They're going to get up. Someone's going to put the kettle on, probably not make a cup of tea, and then they're all just going to sit down and huff energy drinks and play constantly until sun goes down, and then someone's going to fall asleep.
And order a Chipotle bowl, and then.
But if you, right. But if you meal prep, if you work out a little bit, if you do some fucking good stretching, get your good food in you, it's going to change the way to take care of your body, changes everything. You're not going to shit blood anymore. I know some of you shit blood. I know. I've been around the block. I know what it's like. It's not good.
The halls of lands are just covered in blood.
I remember some of those Blackpool hotel toilet rooms. I'm seeing things, man.
Yeah.
It's not impossible to do, but take care of your body.
Yeah, you don't need to be there five days a week. You know what I mean? If you want to, then great. But 2 or 3 times a week, do some exercise. It doesn't take much. You don't need to be there for 2 hours. I don't know, man. It's not a hard thing for them to do. We are preaching, and it is their lives, but at the same time,
it's right to preach. It's right because not enough players take this seriously. Genuinely, not enough players take it seriously.
Dude. I'm nearly 30 now. You need to take care of yourself because one day you're going to go, holy shit, I can't walk properly anymore. My farts don't smell normal like farts used to smell like shit. Things change, people. It's the little things. You start to notice this stuff. Take care of yourselves, please. Because I want to watch good COD for a long time. I don't want someone start dropping off because fucking bones and shit twisted and their guts are even inside out. I'm like, dude, take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think health problems would be interesting. They're young now, but health problems is certainly going to be an issue later on. And it's not even like I said about on the day playing, but genuinely, you'll go to a doctor in 6 years, oh, well, how's your diet and exercise training? Well, I sat down and did nothing for 6 years of eating rubbish. And things like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, Your bones are glass.
Dude, it's true though. It's true.
It is.
I wonder how carpal tunnel things like that are going for players these days.
You're gonna get that the one.
Yeah.
Was it carpal tunnel Killer had?
Could have been carpal tunnel. There's that ligament right forearm, and it becomes a burning sensation in the palm of the hand. If you've ever had that burning sensation, ladies and gentlemen, ice that shit right down, or get one of those wrist braces, and also do some forearm exercises because that really makes a big difference. Yeah. But there's so many things, man. You got to take care of yourself.
Well, that's
it's 3 old dudes here. Shouting at you.
I've noticed a difference just by slimming down a little bit, and I also cut out caffeine at the start of this year. I only take caffeine as a workout thing now. Whereas if you knew me before, and this is one of the worst habits I ever had, and Tunnel will back me up here. I was going through Pepsi Max, and I still love it. It's delicious. I was going through it you wouldn't believe. Because I drink a lot during the day anyway, right? Dehydration is a big thing for me because I feel like I'm always going to be dehydrated, as you've probably known with my massive cup.
Sick.
But I could go through 6 liters of Pepsi Max a day without blinking.
Yeah.
Like without even thinking about it.
We used to
Can you crush and can?
Oh,
I have to drink constantly.
So much. You went through so much. Like constantly. I would not see you without a Pepsi Max in your hand. But now I haven't seen you have it in ages. To be fair, do you still have any?
I do in occasional social occasions, and if I go to a restaurant. Because
you're a social Pepsi Maxer.
Yeah, because I don't. Here's another thing people don't understand. I don't really drink. Like, I'm not a big drinker. I only drink with like close friends.
He's not fucking drinking with us, FYI.
He's drunk with me.
No, but that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm quite like I'm not teetotal because I do drink occasionally, but like even that sort of stuff. Like, but I've noticed my energy levels through cutting out the majority of caffeine are unbelievable. Like, I honestly, if somebody had explained to me how different you would feel on a day-to-day basis, I would have treated that stuff like worse than cigarettes.
Dude,
like, genuinely.
Don't say that. I love caffeine.
I wake up in the morning, like, because I woke up 5 minutes before this broadcast. I wake up, I have some water, and I'm actually good to go. Like before, I got into a stage where I was taking caffeine pills when I woke up before I got in the shower.
Holy shit!
To feel normal by breakfast.
Holy shit, Brice. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Did you feel? Did you have a come down?
Yeah, like, but I just have more caffeine.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in the process of going from caffeine to no caffeine.
Like 3 months. It took 3 months for me to get off it, and I had headaches, fatigue. I had the whole 9 yards.
You in full like train spotting with a baby on the roof and everything. No caffeine.
But it also affected my work. Like if you watch some of them, you can tell where I've taken too much caffeine because my mouth goes weird.
Really?
Yeah. Like I go watch back a thing now, and I know if I've had too much caffeine because my mouth. I'm not talking right.
Louder than usual.
Yeah. But I was like, if you ever like, you worked with me at Last Champs. I had I think Diet Coke there on the side the entire time. But now I don't need it. Huh?
Is there caffeine in Diet Coke?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Right.
Trust me.
I've been
trust me, there is.
Too much Coke Zero.
Because I'm not sugar, so I only ever have sugar-free drinks anyway. Can't stand sugar-free drinks.
Yeah,
but like,
don't worry about
I think if you could give it to a player and show them like that you don't have to stack like monsters in the fridge every day. And like if you need it for an event, but you have to figure it out, like how you're going to manage your energy levels, because it's not good for you, A, long term, and B, it's actually like a false economy. The more you take, the more you need. And I think the daily recommended for a day is 400 milligrams, and I was laughing at 1,000 so many times.
that's pretty sick. I know you. I don't know how much time you've got, or like how long we can go.
Well, this is up to you.
I'm down, boys. Like I got nothing on. When it comes down to that caffeine abuse thing, like I was my very, very first LAN ever. I made it to the grand finals of Free for All, and I was huffing a energy drink, a particular energy drink. It was little Red Bulls. I was like, it was literally like one after every single match, because I was like, oh, by the time it's kicked in, I'll be ready to go for the next one. By the time I rolled around to the grand finals, I was so tired. And the brain had just become this like numb, mushy piece of shit, because like there was just nothing was. I could barely form sentences. Like it was just not working out, because I'd been drinking a little bit of water and had food that wasn't great, and then I drunk about 19 cans of Red Bull. You know, like let's say at least 8 to 9 cans, because that was like how many rounds of free throw I had to play through. Yeah. By the time I got to the grand finals, I got dead last because I literally could not function. Ever since that tournament, I made like a solemn promise to myself to never drink Red Bulls or any kind of energy drinks at an event ever again, and go completely down to water. And genuinely, it made a tremendous difference, Brice. I mean, I was still drinking coffee outside of that. I was still, when it came to scrimmage, occasionally I still had a little cheeky Red Bull here and there, a little cheeky bit of this, a bit of Monster, a bit of Rockstar, whatever. I was trying all different stuff. And at the same time, though, I made a solemn promise to never do it at events again. And it did make a huge difference. It's kind of like consistency of mind. There was no dips, there was no ups and downs. It was like, you could tell the water just kept everything level. And when it came to like food intake, it was like, okay, now I know that like, yeah, bananas are really good for you, bit of fruit's good for you for a little short spike, whatever. But it was always like the caffeine is the one that kills you. That is honestly the one. But I will say, as a good company man, that G Fuel is the fucking tits. Holy shit, does that stuff work?
I use G Fuel to help me cut down on Pepsi Max.
Oh my god, that shit is the bomb.
That's how
Dude, I don't know what's in it. I don't want to know because it works, man.
I honestly think it's basically like pre-workout, but
is that
less
BCAAs,
caffeine and a lot of this. No, it's all that stuff's taken out.
Right.
You've taken all that stuff out, and it's less caffeine. But here's the thing: I actually don't mind G Fuel. Like, even though I'm not a big caffeine drinker nowadays, that stuff helped me get off because I switched to that instead of Pepsi Max because it's better for you. And then you don't have as much of a come down. Like, I don't know. I'm not even sponsored by G Fuel at all, but I think it's a good product, like for a lot of people. And you get it in about 1 billion flavors as well. The worst thing I've had was
so good.
I did a taste session with Golden Boy at UMG once on camera, and I did about 28 shots of G Fuel, just tasting all their flavors while we did a piece for them.
I mean,
it was the most wild I've ever been. I was like, oh
yeah. Dude, we were doing those pop rock things at Champs, the little taste things, and they were strong, man. They were so strong. I could see sound after a while.
I never took them. I never took them because of the caffeine.
Christ, they were intense, mate.
What did Jess call them?
I don't want to repeat it.
No, we can't actually.
Jess, God bless Jess, but man, once that camera's off, she goes
wild. Jess is wild.
The broad goes hard, man. Jess is amazing. Yeah, she says some shit, dude. She says some shit. That's what we should do this year. We should quote Jess in tweets and be like the best of Jess.
Best of Jess that won't get fired. Quite
yes. Heavily edited, but like she's so funny.
Honestly, if they ever put a camera in the green room, done.
Oh, we'd all be fired. We'd all be sacked.
I'd be fine.
Right. I think Miles, the worst of you comes out on camera. I was like, oh God, did he just say that?
Yes, he fucking did.
Yeah. All right, let's move on then, because I don't want to take up too much of Miles' time, even though I love it.
It's been a long one.
All this is, boys, we're all just eating into each other's. Let's be real.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a big fan of Miles. I'll have him on again. In fact, I have Miles replace Tunn. All right, let's go through the rapid fire COD questions from Reddit this time, not the chat, which is different because obviously we're doing this at like 9 a.m. All right.
Oh, but mate, that's good.
Team Spacely, why are they doing so well? Thoughts?
I don't know, to be honest.
Not a clue. It's come out of nowhere.
So I think it's because they're a team full of grinders. They're that typical team at the beginning of a game who tends to learn things very quickly because they've been playing it a lot. Full of decent online players as well. If they can transition it to LAN, that's why I don't really put too much stock behind it yet. They are good, but Mind Freak's their first big test. Mind Freak are a good team. They go in against that. If they smash Mind Freak, then they're a real deal. But until then, I actually don't know.
I think you're right. I think they... okay, wait. Spacely was on Ghost Gaming in... was it Infinite Warfare?
Hold on. Actually, bearing in mind, Ghost Gaming had a very good start last year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember.
Oh, I know. They had a good start online, and then they got to Dallas, and they got fisted. So...
Oh, it was terrible. But...
Yeah.
Was it Infinite Warfare Champs? I'm trying to bring it up because I'm pretty sure that's a squad that we saw the same thing in Black Ops 3. I want to say I might be getting this wrong because it's late and I'm tired, but I'm pretty sure that is a team that have literally no qualms with being a little weird, trying to break meta, trying to be innovative. Towards the end of Infinite Warfare, they popped smokes at Champ, and everyone was just like, "Holy shit, we haven't done this since the first week." Because everyone gets stuck in their ways of just playing the same kind of game. I feel like they're a kind of team that will do that. Yeah, Spacely, yeah. And the same with Lacefield as well. They're a team that will do weird shit, and it pays off for them. And I hope that they can. I hope that they are bringing that same sort of weirdness, that kind of fun and exciting gameplay to the first event. And I think that's what's helping them stick out, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Right.
But wait and see. I said everything is on the table in a minute because we just don't know how everyone's going to transition to LAN. That's the thing.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Rapid fire. Okay, this is literally a pick. Worst decision in roster mania, in your opinion? LG dropping JCap or Alex leaving the Unilad trio? You got to pick one.
I'm going to go
worst decision out of the two?
Dropping JCap.
I reckon JCap might have left. I don't know. Fuck it. Let's go with Alex. I reckon Rec are going to do good, and Alex is going to be like, I messed up. Right?
Yeah, I think that is an oversight, but I think dropping JCap's worse.
I'm going to go with the JCap thing because I still think the Alex could land on his feet with Mad Cat and Josh.
Yeah, just don't know how it's going.
Just testing Bricey, testing his loyalty, and every time he comes up, every time he's solid. That man.
Big Mad Cat. I've actually got 2 tattoos on my shoulder blade. One says Mad Cat, the other says Jerd. And I've got the Game Changer running down my leg. Anyway, let's move on. What are your options on for franchising? Let's move on, because that's everyone always asks about franchising. We're going to have to do one on franchising at some point.
But how much do you know? Who's got the intel?
Well, I think we have to just talk about it as a topic, but it's such an incredibly big topic.
Yes.
That I'd not only have to do that, but I'd have to go speak to a couple of people, not only
find out what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Where's Slasher? The other Slasher.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah. Which team has the most pressure coming into the new season at Vegas? For me,
Optic Gaming.
I think that and 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves, yeah. 100 Thieves.
Pressure on 100 Thieves.
On paper.
And whether they want it or not, dude, whether they want it or not, they got it.
Yeah, but it has to be Optic.
A lot of pressure.
Surely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that they've played so well on Light. Imagine if they go to land and shit the bed. Oh my god. Crazy.
But you know, they could do that. And you know who's going to be really pissed at them? But the fans are still going to be there like, you guys did your best. And that is beautiful in its own right. But I think some of Thieves, dude, Thieves, man, the Thieves have got the pressure. Yeah, because Papa Nade, he's always watching.
A lot of pressure on them, a lot of pressure on Optic, 100%. But I would personally say Optic.
Next question. What do you think about the season only having 6 events? That one's really easy to answer. Obviously, we want more, but I'm not paying for it, so it's not up to me.
Yeah. It comes down to money, doesn't it? At the end of the day, they have to sort of decide, like, this is one of the things that a lot of people are like, why isn't there more events in Europe? But
I know, it's a 12-week pro league. 12 weeks.
It's a big pro league, but then at the same time...
Also, there's so much that goes into this behind the scenes you don't have a clue about. Like, there's so much that... From the bottom up, like if anyone's if you run a business of your own, there's shit you can't control. Like if there's so many moving parts to this behemoth that is the CWL. Even though Maven just runs everything, like cut him some slack.
Yeah.
Hey, that's broadcast of the year you're talking about.
Hey, Sir Maven, he got a knighthood, didn't he?
I'm so disappointed he didn't strip and streak like he told me he was going to.
Yeah.
I was so confident he wasn't going to win. He made that promise and didn't do it.
But I'll jump in on this one, because I think the thing is that people are complaining about why isn't events in Europe, why isn't events in Australia, why don't independent companies like EGL, like your Gfinities, like your guys over like ESL, why don't they run one in Australia? Because these things cost a shit ton of money, and most of the time,
do you know how much I cost?
Oh yeah, Miles immediately divides all of our budget. But the thing is, these companies are businesses. And unless you are being backed by Activision or the CWL, whoever, because they pay you to run these events. Multiplayer got paid to run the event last year. They made money off it. But if you do not get that money as an incentive to run the events, then you're running it off your own back. Whereas then you're counting on teams turning up and making a profit off team tickets and sponsorships. And then if you can't do, and then because of that, you can't run an event at the same level. I had somebody tell me that, you know, these companies now, they just can't run an event as good as MLG. But MLG, you've got the backing of a multi-billion-dollar company to run these events. They do a great job. MLG are fantastic, but the budget they have is phenomenal as well. You go and...
do you know that? Today I've got a clue.
Well, surely it is. I mean, you look at these events. They're not paying a $5, are they? Like, I mean, this is costing them...
I run events.
I think it's a good time... Yeah, exactly, Brice. I was going to say, this is a good time to announce that for everyone watching, having a LAN at my place, it's going to be $400 on the door. You come in. I've got good internet.
So expensive.
I have a plan. COD community. I know you're not all going to see this, but we're going to share this now. I have a cunning plan.
Oh God!
We're all going to tweet at Elon Musk tomorrow.
Elon Musk, yes!
We're going to have the Hyperloop games, the SpaceX games, the Tesla games. Like, he is going to give us 20 events a year, and they're all going to be done in space.
But ultimately,
that'd be sick.
What we're saying is, it all comes down to money. Independent companies can't run them because it costs too much money, and it is just not worth it. People have to run businesses. People have to pay wages, mine included, and it just doesn't work.
But you know what? Do you know what? Just keep posting. Just keep posting. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, let's move on. Like I said, we're trying to do this a little bit rapid fire, but there's so much to talk about. Who are the greatest players of all time from Europe and Australia? We all know the ones from NA. EU's like a toss up between like
greatest of all time. Are we talking just like one or two people?
I don't know, because Europe has so many players. Like Zero and Bance are starting to make the name for themselves, like of all time. Rated's starting to put his name in there. Scraps is too soon for him yet.
We need to see consistency.
Gunch is there, but no one knows who Gunch is. For a lot of
excellence.
players.
Mate, Gunchy.
Excellent.
Excellent. What was
Mancat and Jerd certainly are up there, like 100%. Tommy.
I'll put Tommy up there. I'll put Tommy up there.
Tommy was for a good while. I think he overtook Gunch, the most achieved player of Europe.
Oh, who was? You guys will know this. Who was on the very first?
Sorry, I've always cut out
his name. Who was on the very first ever Dignitas COD team? Like we're talking like COD 4 here.
Oh God,
I forget his name. Are
you talking about
Rumsey? That's it. Yes. Rumsey.
People like that, excellence. They were all like OG guys. I would argue like people like Toby and Mac were very, very good in their day.
For all time.
Yeah, back in the day, they were for a few years very, very good. I always say that because I criminally undersold them every event, and they always won. I was like, nah, this shit, and they kept winning. Like teams like that.
They go in the Hall of Fame, but like for all time, you've got to be talking about the consistent players. Gunch, I think, loses relevance in the modern age. Tommy,
I think Tommy, you would argue.
Jerd, like
I think
all
Tommy,
time, those are the names that have been around for forever.
Yeah, if Swanee had stuck at what he was doing and consider keeping up his placements, you would say him. I would say Tommy though.
If I was fame, but all time.
If I was to select a single person who has been the best European player on a consistent basis for years, I would say Tommy personally.
Yeah, I could see that. I'd say it's toss up between Madcat, Jed, and Tommy for me.
Yeah, I would say so.
I couldn't figure out. What about Australia, Miles? You can figure out
Australia. I'm fresh here, so I mean, I've got to go off the last 2.5 years, and as far as just sheer consistency goes, and I know this has been the case pretty much the whole way. It's the Shocks and it's the Dens for me. It's one of those two, without a doubt. Strong showings in every game without fail, and they've been at the top. There's no shaking them. You know, obviously Buzzers with them as well. Fight has been there in waves, but someone on Mind Freak has to be. I don't know though. I'm probably doing the nation a great disservice by saying that because I'm green, baby.
That's right. No problem. Let's move on because we've got way too many questions. Why do people say OG has been getting on by talent alone when a team with arguably equal talent like LG has been struggling? I'm just gonna take this one and answer it quickly because it's so damn talented. OG are ridiculously talented. Just look at their accolades.
Gaming.
Oh my god! Right, we're moving on from that one.
But they have always been a good online team. Let's just put it out there. They have been. Yeah.
Quick one. This one. Who will qualify for Vegas pools? Mind Freak or Tate and Minds or both?
Both could, but Spacey's boys are going to smack somebody. Someone's getting the man.
I'm going to put just Mind Freak through the loser bracket.
Yeah, 4 make it out. I think at least one European team will. I think Spacey's team will. Mind Freak. I think Reedy's team will.
Yeah, good call.
Maybe Tate Minds. Maybe.
This question was about the two Australian teams. This is about the 2 Australian teams and whether or not they would make it.
Okay,
Stop subverting it because it's a massive topic and we can't cover it.
Okay,
it's a toss-up. MF should do it. It's a toss-up.
Yeah, I'm just picking Mind Freak. I'm not even going to pick both.
Yeah, that's all
right. This guy's asked about 8 questions in one. Interested in knowing your favourite teams, players to cast. I don't really care about team-wise. Some players I like watching. But like it's more. It's usually the fast SMGs. Usually the fast SMGs I like watching.
Yeah, people like Scraps.
Or a sniper.
Yes, I really enjoyed casting over Ferro last year. He was towards the end of the year. He was really good. I don't know. I just I really like casting over European teams because of my ultimate bias. And yeah, that's and Optic as well, just because it's always dramatic. Whatever happens is always dramatic. So
I like
Miles.
I think you're right there, Tony. I think the drama, the theatrics, and the excitement of watching the team that everyone's watching. There's got such a story behind them is always good. But I like to watch teams that aren't afraid to try weird shit. That's the most exciting for me because after a while we kind of all get into this repetition of watching the same stuff, watching the same strategies, watching the same gunplay, watching that shit down and just seeing who can do it better. But it's really, really exciting. And I think that's what Black Ops 4 is going to be so good for, is watching players innovate, watching players do shit that we haven't seen before. And I think we're going to get caught off guard by a lot of surprising fun things. Those teams are the Ghost Gamings. They're the Optics every now and then. I think Karma's going to bring out cool shit this year. I'm actually holding players like Clayster. I think JCap's going to do some cool shit this year. I think we're going to see some cool shit this year.
And one thing they did announce last night as well was the amateur circuit being streamed. You're going to see some cool shit there because they will do different stuff completely to what we see. Yeah. Not necessarily at the beginning, but I think as time goes on, the pros will fall into this place of doing the same thing as everybody else because everyone will figure it out. But the AM scene will probably still adapt in different ways as the game goes on. And I think that's one of the reasons they've chosen to do an amateur circuit stream. Yeah.
All right, let's continue on then. People criticising Dick Serdo because they only post gossip articles. Here's an interesting thing I found out. Did you know that I think, and I can't be 100% on this because I was at the Esports Awards, Dick Serdo were probably one of the most successful news sites in esports.
Yeah, they
you know
are.
that?
I totally believe that, man. I'm on it every day.
70 plus like full-time staff now. They make significant amount of money. They've put out more articles than anyone. Their viewership is higher than anyone. Like they actually, apparently, like admittedly, this is like their press release. But they are absolutely killing it right now. Like, whereas you can shit on them for their clickbait, they are absolutely killing it.
I respect the hustle, to be honest with you. I really do. And
100%.
And I've known
from day one.
Yeah, and I think we have some bias because we've known the guys for a long time. We know Mike really well. I've known Josh.
That makes me more likely to shit on them.
Yeah, well, I know, but at the same time, like I've known Chris Marsh for years. I've been out for birthday nights out and shit like that. We all know these guys really well and get along with them, so it's easy for us to say. But at the same time, I just think that they're doing the right thing. For all that they are criticised, is anyone putting out as much information as them? Fuck no. So
I went to get the Vegas pools.
Same, dude. I was going to say I go to Serdo first to get like patch notes. I go there first because I think they do a good job of condensing it and giving me the shit I want to read.
And it's going to be there. You know it's going to be there.
I think they are grossly underappreciated. Yes, okay, they post some shit, but everybody posts some shit. They have at the end of the day they have
shit. Jesus.
Yeah, well, exactly. But at the end of the day, I have a job to discern or have a job to do. Like, you know,
that's enough. That's enough being nice to say. We're gonna move on because all right. Last question. We're not gonna answer everyone in this thread because there is a lot, and some of them are just not great stuff for us to talk about right now. Because they either need a bigger topic or it just doesn't really go anywhere. It's a circular argument. So the last question, and this is an interesting one. If you had control of MLG for one day, what would be the first thing you change about the CWL? Tunn.
Remove Momo.
Yeah, probably.
No. Let's have a think. That's a really difficult question because they do a lot of things very, very right, but what could you do to improve it? I think just the thing is it's more money to do the things that you would want to do, but more streams. I think a bigger broadcast, more streams, more things on it. Like, so instead of just having an alpha desk, have like a Bravo desk, Charlie desk, and like plenty of talent to do it all. But then I think just more.
In fairness, the red zone thing they did at XP was good.
Super sick.
Yeah, that was really good. But just improve it from a production aspect of having more of that. But then that's just a thing there where it comes down to having talent, it comes down to having money. So that's
all right, we'll move on. Miles?
I would invest a ton of money to creating like an augmented reality version of Maven on the back of the dragon. So like at the start of
I went sensible, but okay.
Pocket comes out and he's like, "What's going on?" And then all of a sudden you hear this and you look up and there's this fucking dragon and it flies in and Clint is riding on the back of it like naked and this like little lion claw thing and he's screaming like cackling like ah and
AI Clint
flies around the arena and he's like, "Who's ready to get this started? Are you ready?" Everyone's like, "Yeah." And then the dragon breathes fire, but the fire are actually low. It's not fire, it's like thousands of little like COD point coins and they're flying all over the crowd and everyone's like, "Whoa." That's what I would do one day. That's what I would do.
That's pretty good. I mean, anything with Clint as an AI or hologram, I'm fairly certain is how Skynet starts. That gets into it and they're like, yep, we've got to kill humanity now. Yeah, that pretty much makes sense. Mine's always the same. More Brice.
Nobody can afford that. There is no such budget that can afford you on a daily basis.
Whoa, I do this for love.
We think Miles charges a lot. Jesus Christ.
This is an in-joke. This is a bad rumor.
Don't start this rumor like it's true. Jesus Christ.
I told the Australians this year, like for World War II, I was like, you know the reason why events is because all that money that was going to tournaments is
Australia.
To me.
That's
all to me. I know that was a bad troll, but that was still like my close friend. Fucked.
All right, okay. I think that'll do us for Spitfire for a long episode of Spitfire. Really Miles, thank you so much for coming on. You're entertaining. You're beautiful. You just make the world a better place.
Thanks,
any
man.
shout-outs from you, Miles?
Just a big shout-outs to Mum. She's probably watching this, and Dad. And yeah, man, shout-outs to the fucking CWL for running. It's going to be a kick-ass year. I'm pretty stoked.
Plug stream.
Twitch.tv/Miles Ross every Tuesday from 6 p.m. AEDT until about midnight. We play Blackout. We win games. We drop thousands and thousands of movie references and quotes that you probably won't get. But that's why Google was invented.
This is why Phil is wasted as your Gio.
Oh, yeah, you're like, how are you, Phil?
So
how are you, Phil? Like, he gets no references.
If it's not High School Musical, Phil doesn't want.
I don't want to play with him. Is that from Star Trek? I'm like, no, Phil, it's not. It's not even from like Star Wars. There's no stars involved. That was Home Alone, you bitch. Anyway,
he's the worst. He's the worst. Tunn.
Yes. Well, so the one thing that we do want to announce is that Astro have kindly given us a headset to give away. So that is going to be tweeted out straight after this episode goes live. So keep an eye on that one. It's going to be the typical follow EGL, follow Astro, retweet, and you can win a 40 headset. So we're going to have plenty going on with Astro. Keep an eye on that. That's going to run for about a month, so we're going to end it just before Christmas on a live episode, but keep an eye on that one. I said the tweet will be going out now. Say now. Just say now. It's going out now, so keep an eye on that one.
Does that mean that it's going out after you post it, or after it goes live? Because this is going to go on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm deciding whether to. Yeah, we'll put it on Twitch. So say now. Now it's going out now.
All right, it's out now. Go sit now. All right, fantastic. All right, well, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. You can check out my stream occasionally for what may be the worst teamwork in Blackout you'll ever see. But we win a lot
Apart from Joe does well.
Yeah. If you want to watch my Blackout stream, you're watching just because I team with someone who's stupidly good at the game. But thank you so much for watching. Spitfire is back. It's bigger. It's better. It's got sponsors and stuff. We'll see you next time.